That's good.
Hello YouTube, Pat K here. Just wanted to take a couple minutes today and talk about some of the things that have been going on in the news. There's been obviously a lot of controversy regarding Brett Kavanaugh, his nomination, and his possible placement on the Supreme Court. So I just want to take a few minutes to kind of talk about some of the things that I think are of note and should be looked at with a little bit more scrutiny by everybody who really has any opinion on this, which seems to be just about everyone. Before I get started, I just want to remind everybody to please hit subscribe and tap that bell icon so you can get notifications when I make new videos concerning things like this, addiction and recovery, other random things, funny stuff, and of course puppies. Now before I get going, I just want to say quickly that I'm not a legal expert. Most of my experience in the legal system has been on what some would call the wrong side of it. And in fact, I've only really taken a few courses in college that concern constitutional law or what the legislative branch of the government really does. So, that being said, here are 5 things to consider in all of this craziness. Number 1, the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is the highest court in the land. It's where judgments made by previous judges, either district or federal, go to become law or die. The Supreme Court really only has to answer to the other 2 branches of government, the legislative, which is the Senate and the House of Representatives, and the executive, which is the president and his staff. Number 2, rape versus sexual assault. Now, I've seen and read a lot of arguments made about this, and I just wanted to kind of make it sort of clear if there are people who still, don't quite understand. Rape specifically involves penetration, whereas sexual assault is basically an unwanted act against one's person that is sexual in nature. Now, whether or not a person has been technically raped or simply assaulted sexually is kind of irrelevant when considering a Supreme Court justice. Whether or not they penetrated a person or not really shouldn't matter. The fact is that if someone violates another person's rights, should that person be given the ability to make judgments that concern the rights of all people, specifically women? Number 3, why Kavanaugh? What is so special about Brett Kavanaugh that has earned him this nomination or this seat? Is it because he's the best and brightest? Is it because he was prepared for this his whole life? Is he simply the most affluent of choices? The fact is, Brett Kavanaugh has come from a very privileged life. From the prep schools he went to the colleges, to the positions that he has held as an adult. He has almost been sort of groomed for this kind of thing, as a lot of people who are in power often are. His father is a law professor. His mother was a prosecutor who then also became a judge, and really his life has been sort of paved along for him. Now he argues that he worked his butt off to get to where he is, but according to his own testimony, it sounds like he just really did a lot of partying and was kind of along for the ride. Not to say that he didn't work hard in his classes, but a lot of people work hard in school, and a lot of people strive to be great things. I think a big reason why perhaps he was chosen out of the 50 other judges, out of the 49 other judges that comprised the list, that one person who helped put the list together said you could literally throw a dart at and anyone would be fine. He's one of the youngest. I think something that really needs to be looked at is the fact of his age. Being in your early 50s may not be considered young. If you look at all of the current Supreme Court justices, many of whom are in their 70s and 80s, it makes sense to pick somebody who is much younger, giving them the most longevity, especially if that person has made it clear that they have leanings toward a particular party or a particular party's views. That being said, a Supreme Court justice, or really any judge, should be carrying out justice. Justice should be blind. Number 4, consider the source. Now, by source, I mean, of course, Donald Trump. Donald Trump picked this guy because, one, I think because of the longevity that it offers, but also because he's already stated, Brett Kavanaugh has stated himself, that he believes that a sitting president is beyond reproach, is above the law, and can therefore not be subpoenaed. And when you take into consideration all of the legal problems and controversy that Donald Trump is facing with the Russia probe, with the porn stars, with everything going on between him and these tariffs and China and Canada and Mexico, all of this controversy comes down to what are his motives? What is his intent? Is it for the betterment of America, or is it for his own narcissistic, delusional, crazy, too many adjectives? What Kavanaugh is prepared to do in his seat as justice goes right with what Donald Trump has been trying to push and pursue. And in my opinion, it's almost all bad. Number 5, fucking vote. Vote. Fucking vote. Fucking vote. In about 5 weeks, many of us are going to be given the opportunity to leave our house, to go out into the cold, and to make a selection of, probably not the most attractive of choices. However, when given the opportunity to help decide who our senators are, who our congressmen are, we need to take full advantage of that, because these are the people that right now are going to be making decisions that will decide of whether or not a man who may have committed sexual assault and may have abused his affluence to get away with such acts, and who may or may not have a pretty severe drinking problem, they're going to be the ones to decide whether or not this person takes that seat. So there it is. 5 things to consider. I hope that everybody can take all of this in stride. As I said, I'm not an expert. These are just my views and what I've been thinking about. If you disagree with me, please go down in the comments and tell me what you think. If I said something that was my information was inaccurate, please let me know. I love to learn things. I've always been a big fan of trivia because I figure it's a 2-win situation. You either get to know that you were right and feel pretty good about that, or you find out you were wrong and then you learn something new. Good all around. If you just want to tell me how great my hair looks, that's fine too. I love hearing that. All right. Well, anyway, that's all I have to say on this for now. And I hope to see you all again very, very soon. All right. Pat K, out.
Come on, wake the streets up. Yeah, yeah, okay. Wake the streets up. Yeah, yeah, okay.